Hi, and welcome to Gardening Time. Today I'm going to show you what we are going to be growing out in our vegetable garden beds. We are in Northern Illinois, growing zone 5A. And so I'm going to go through, all the different vegetables as well as some herbs that we're going to be growing this year. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me go through first and show you some of the leafy greens that we have that we're going to be growing. The first is a loose leaf lettuce variety. Then we have a this variety, it's called Grand's Rapid. I believe this one is also a loose leaf variety. It says on the back here, it says grows large, frilly, bright green leaves that are tender and sweet. So I'm looking forward to growing this one. It says this variety is also slower to bolt than other loose leaf varieties. Okay, and then we have some kale. This variety of kale is our favorite variety. It's the first variety I ever grew, and I've tried growing others, but I always come back to this one. This is a dwarf variety. It's a curly leaf, and it's a beautiful plant. The leaves are have a wonderful taste to them, and they're great fresh or cooked. This next variety is a spinach, and this is called Salad Sensation. And this one, it says its oval, savory leaves are perfect for baby leaf salad. It's also good for, it says, pureeing or freezing. Then I have some oyster leaf. I actually got these seeds last year, and I was unsuccessful at getting any of them to germinate. It actually says on here that this is a very tough plant to germinate. And yeah, it says it sprouts in 14 to 80 days. So I'm giving it another shot. I'm going to see what I can do in terms of getting this variety to come up. The really cool thing about the leaves actually are supposed to have a similar taste to oyster, and they're supposed to be delicious. So we're going to give that one a go. And then I'm also growing some rainbow colored Swiss chard. New variety of eggplant I'm growing this year is called and I might be butchering the name, Toyo eggplant. So this variety, it says it's traditionally grown in Maitoyo and somewhere else in Japan. Large fruit is oval to teardrop shaped and nearly black. It says its flesh is very tender and sweet, and it got really high reviews in Baker Creek, and so I'm hoping that this is going to be a good variety for our area. Then we have this is called a miner's lettuce. This plant is a plant that grows in the wild. A lot of people will see it as being a weed, but it is supposed to be actually really delicious and very high in vitamin C. It says it's easy to grow. An easy-to-grow annual that is cold hardy. It's a cut and come again green. Then we have a new broccoli variety we're trying. This is called purple sprouting broccoli. And the cool thing with this broccoli is that rather than producing the big, large heads of broccoli, this one produces a ton of shoots of small broccoli flowerets, if I can talk. And it's delicious raw or cooked. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one does. Then we've got our peppers, and we're only growing 3 varieties of peppers. We're growing our traditional green sweet peppers. And then we're growing a hot early jalapeno. I grew this one last year and it did fantastic. We love our jalapenos because one of the things we love to do in the fall after a big harvest of these is to make our cowboy candy. And if you've never had cowboy candy, you should seriously try it. It is so yummy. Okay, and then this is a first year for this variety. It's called a jigsaw pepper. It's actually a really beautiful ornamental pepper. It has, the leaves are multicolored in a tie-dye pattern of lavender, cream, and violet, sea foam, and forest green, making it one of the most beautiful peppers. Its short, stocky plant produces small plum-colored fruit that is about as spicy as a jalapeno. So we're going to give that one a shot this year. Okay, then we've got our tomatoes, and this year we're growing, and we grew these two varieties last year as well. These are our sauce tomatoes. We grow the San Marzano variety as well as the Roma variety, and we've had success with both of these in our garden. Then we've got a Rutgers. This is the first year I've tried this variety. It says it's one of the most popular general purpose tomatoes. So I thought I would give this one a shot and see what we think. And that's just a slicing tomato. Another slicing tomato, and this is a favorite of ours, is the Brandywine Pink. This is a delicious tomato, and they're large, and they just have a wonderful flavor. I think all Brandywine varieties are delicious, but I've always grown the pink. All right, a cherry tomato that we're going to be growing this year, we've grown it in the past as well, is called the Honeycomb Hybrid, and it is a yellow cherry tomato, and the flavor on this is just fantastic. We both really enjoy it. Another cherry tomato that we love is called the Black Cherry Tomato. This one is a little larger in size, but the flavor on this one is, it's a wonderful flavor as well. Really nice plant, and it always produces an abundance of fruit. Okay, a new cherry tomato variety we're trying this year is a red variety. This one, it says, this sweet red 1 ounce fruit grows in ridiculously large clusters. Popular small tomato with seed collectors who know it possesses the scrumptious classic cherry flavor that has been largely lost over the years. Looking forward to trying this one. Another staple in our garden is the Super Beefsteak, another wonderful slicing tomato. And a new tomato that we're trying this year is called the Thorburns Terracotta Tomato. This tomato was, or this seed packet I should say, was a free seed packet sent to me by Baker's Creek. And so I thought I'd give it a shot and see what we get. All right, I'm going to go through my basil varieties. I have a ton of basil. So the first basil variety I am growing is the traditional sweet basil. We love this. We make pestos from it, and it's wonderful to eat fresh or chop it up and put it on soups and all kinds of things. All right, the next basil variety we have is called Lemon Drop, and the flavor and scent on this plant is unbelievable. It's got a true lemon smell and flavor, and unlike lemon balm, it doesn't have a bitter taste afterwards. There is no bitterness to this. So this is a wonderful plant for making tea, I use these to make tea with, but they're also wonderful to top on salads as well. Okay, the next basil variety, this one is called Thai basil. This one is more to used in like savory dishes. It's got more of like a peppery taste to it. It's really good, and it's a beautiful plant as well. As you can see from the picture, it's got beautiful flower heads on it that are like the calyx on them are like a dark purpley color. And it's just a really pretty plant overall. All right, my favorite, the star of the show in terms of basils, is called Blue Spice Basil. First time I tried this was last year, and I just couldn't talk enough about this plant. The aroma and taste is, it's just got a heavenly fragrance. I don't know how to describe it. It's got notes of vanilla in it and other spices. It's just a beautiful smelling plant. In fact, this year I may try potting some of them up and using them as house plants to see how they do in the house, because of the scent that these produce. It's almost like a potpourri type scent. It's wonderful for making tea from and to eat it as well. So it's an overall just a wonderful basil. Next basil, this one is a new one. First year growing it, it's called cinnamon basil. So I'm anxious to try this variety out. And another favorite of ours is the dark purple opal basil. This plant it's beautiful with its dark purple leaves and branches, and it also tastes fantastic too. So another great basil. And last but not least, I am growing for the first year. This is called mammoth basil. So this one I thought would be really good. The leaves are supposed to be very large. I thought it would be nice to use on sandwiches, as well as trying to use it for roll-ups. Like if you wanted to roll up some lunch meat and cheese and using the leaves as like a tortilla. I thought that would be sounded pretty good to me. So anyhow, we're giving this one a shot. All right, so last but not least, these varieties here, all the varieties I just showed you, oh, and I've got to go through my herbs too still, but the varieties I just showed you are varieties that we're actually growing in our indoor greenhouse setup that we have. This bunch here is going to be ones that we're going to be direct sowing. So starting off with the Armenian cucumber. This has become one of our favorites in terms of cucumbers. There is no bitterness at all to these fruits, including the skins. They're absolutely delicious, eaten fresh. And they also grow really nice in size as well. They say they're best when eaten when they're picked under a foot long. Keep this separate. Okay, another cucumber, this first year growing this one, it's called the Garden Sweet Burpless Hybrid. And then we have one more cucumber variety that we're trying this year. This is called the Silver Slicer. This one is supposed to be another one that is not bitter. The skin is supposed to be tender, and the plant is supposed to produce a lot of fruits. We love our cucumbers. All right, that goes with the flowers. All right, so the next one we're growing is, this one is called Okinawan Pure White Bitter Melon. I grew this one last year and we actually got some fruits off of it. It is bitter, but not too bad. And the main reason I'm growing this one is because of the reputed health benefits of eating some bitter plants or incorporating some of those into your diet. All right, this next one, this is another new one I'll be trying this year. This is a nutritious, purpley stemmed and dark green plant that has a delicious flavor, and it's adapted to both extreme heat and cold. All right, we're going to be growing a couple of squash plants. One of them is the Italian ribbed zucchini. I grew this one last year. It did phenomenal. The fruits were delicious. So this is a really good one to grow. And then another good squash variety that we grew last year is called the early white bush scallop squash. This squash grew a tremendous amount of fruits, and I kept several of the fruits in the basement, and we we still have a small bunch of these left that I'm going to be feeding off to the chickens here in the next few days. So these ones were very prolific, and they actually are really tasty as well. All right, so this one is going to be a new variety for us to try. It's called the Illinois squash. It says it's an old heirloom widely grown in southern Illinois. So it says it's pale yellow and keeps fairly well. Large white to ivory, club-shaped fruit, and it says the fruits can weigh up to 25 pounds, so quite large. We'll see how this one does. Okay, and then we have these greens. It says a phenomenally tasty, stunning new superfood with 4 times as much vitamin A as carrots. It says it's a cross between tassel and, I can't even pronounce the name. Anyhow, lightly savory leaves have a velvety mouth feel and lightly, I can't even pronounce that, light flavor. It says it's heat and cold tolerant, and it's suitable to grow year-round in most growing zones. Our cats are fighting. Okay. Next, we have the Minnesota midget. Now, for whatever reason, I have not had the best success in growing melons, watermelons, or cantaloupes. But of the varieties that I have tried thus far, this is one that has produced for me. And so I'm going to go ahead and grow this one again. So this one, it says it's a small early heirloom that was introduced in Minnesota in 1948. Its vines only get 3 to 4 feet long, and it produces sweet orange melons that are just 4 inches across. So basically enough for one person to enjoy per fruit. And then we're going to grow the Art Comby's Ancient Watermelon. This variety performed good for us last year, so I'm going to try it again this year and see how it does. This variety, it's got an interesting story behind it, so you could read more about it on Baker's Creek. But yeah, this one was found, it says it was found in a clay pot in a cave in southwest U.S. All right, so last but not least, I'm going to go through our herbs that we're going to be growing this year. So we have the dark green Italian parsley. And then I have slow bolt cilantro. This one is a favorite of mine. Most cilantros have a tendency to bolt pretty quickly once summer comes on. And true to this one's name, this one is slower to bolt than the other varieties that I've planted. We're going to be growing some dill this year, the fern leaf. And we're growing a new chamomile. In the past, I've grown the German chamomile. This year, I am trialing the Roman chamomile. The difference between the Roman and the German is the Roman, they're supposed to have larger flowers. And then I'm going to be growing some anise for the first time. And I'm going to be growing some thyme and some cumin. We have oregano. And then I'm going to be growing some golden jubilee hyssop. Korean golden jubilee hyssop. I love this plant for multiple reasons. One, it's a beautiful plant in the landscape. The leaves are a beautiful light lime green. It produces beautiful purple flower stalks, and the taste of the leaves for making teas is phenomenal. So the bees love it. It's a beautiful plant in the garden, and it tastes wonderfully as well if you're into making your own teas. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. That is everything we have right now growing, or that we will be growing in our vegetable beds this year. And the next video, I'm going to show you all the beautiful flowers that we're going to be growing for the garden as well. So stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.